All right. Thank you again for coming back to the Cybersecurity Fundamentals series. This is going to be the first of a couple different series, but this is the last video for the fundamentals, right? At least for Windows. Now, for the gist of the beginning of what we're going to do on this last video here is exercising management tools. It's going to be Windows-based network scanning tools. Some of them are going to be IDServe, CurrPorts, Nmap, LANViewer, NetView, Amap, Netscan Tools, the LANSurveyor, Friendly Pinger, and Global Network Inventory. We also want to understand that some of these tools work similarly, like discovering live systems on a network, and on the other hand, some tools like IDServe, they have a distinct function, so like scanning for a web server and extract its configuration information, right? So first, what we're going to do is use the Clean Manager. Now, the Windows has a disk cleaning tool known as Clean Manager, and its primary job is to clean the temporary files and the internet cache from web browsers, DirectX files, and downloaded program files, and so on, right? So users have the same option of using the Clean Manager or download an alternative from the internet that can perform the same job pretty much. So let's, all right, so perfect. So we're in the right server I wanted to use. So let's take a look here. It should populate for me. Oh, I misspelled it. Right, there it is. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right, so now, now that we have it populated here, we'll see the dialog box. Now, usually it starts to search for files that can be cleaned up from the system. So the system cleanup, it includes removing temporary internet files like DirectX cache files and download program files and so on. So it requires us to just select the files that we want to clean up, of course. So on the, let's see here, okay, I see we're already on there. So on the disk cleanup window, in the disk cleanup tab here, we're going to select all the checkboxes besides any options that have 0 bytes. So anything that has space or any kilobytes or megabytes on that are being in use, right? We're going to check all of those. Right, temporary. All right, perfect. And then we're going to click OK, then delete files, right? So it's pretty much just cleaning up everything. So it's deleting it. All right, and of course now it's progressing to show that it's cleaning up the files. Then it should close automatically for us, and then I should be back on the desktop. Now, while it's doing this for us, just going to get into started into our next task here, which is using ipconfig for DNS cache. So the ipconfig, that command is usually used to display the network configuration settings on the system. And with the /all parameter, it displays the complete network configuration on a system, which can also be used for displaying and purging the DNS resolver cache. And the DNS cache that is maintained on the local systems, which contains information about the websites and the domains that a user easily visit, right? So we're going to remain in our server here, and we're going to get started. There it is. All right, it's finished up. So we're going to open up the command prompt here. And then we're going to do our ipconfig I just mentioned, then all. So, all right, perfect. So now it shows us the output of the command, which is the DNS server IP address. Now, usually if it's not defined, then the system is not able to resolve domain names. However, the same domains can still be reached by their IP addresses and in the static IP configuration. We have to define usually the DNS IP address. In a DHCP, Dynamic Host Control Protocol based automatic IP address configuration, the DNS server IP address is usually assigned the IP address. So just going to clear this out, and then I'm just going to do this here. Then instead of all, display DNS. All right. Perfect. Now we see that the output displays various website names and IP addresses from the resolver cache. So as a regular user, we may not be able to execute this command. However, this command can be handy if we need to perform name resolution troubleshooting. So it's usually required where the system is not able to resolve the domain names For example, if a user types, let's say, www.microsoft.com into the web browser, and an error would be displayed that the name resolution has failed, right? However, if they know the IP address of www.microsoft.com, it would still be able to connect by using it instead, right? So now we're going to purge the resolver cache using this command, flush, which allows us to, let's see, flush, DNS, perfect, successfully flushed. Right now, now that we see that it has been purged successfully, what it does is purging this, it just means deleting the content. So it's important to note that the DNS resolver cache contains the records from the host file of the local system. Now, even if we purge the DNS resolver cache, it will still contain the host file records, right? So now we're going to review the contents of the resolver cache again, just to see the changes, right? So display, all right, perfect. So it shows no records and internet here. This is what we were looking for, right? So that means that the other entries no longer exist. And then we're just going to exit out of here. And now we're back on the Windows desktop. So now we're going to use disk defragmentation. Now, when you move or delete files on a Windows OS, the hard drive becomes fragmented, and it can slow down the system. Now, the fragmentation occurs when the files are added, modified, or deleted normally, and usually from a hard drive regularly. A file is generally saved in a contiguous space. When a file is normally deleted, also its space is left empty on the hard drive. So when a file of a larger or smaller size is written on a hard drive, it does not exactly fit into the space of the previous file. So we either have some free space, or in the case of a larger file, it will consume the entire space and also write onto the next free space. Now, this process continue with addition and deletion and random free spaces and then are generated on the hard drive, which is called fragmentation, right? So to keep the system running with optimal performance, we need to defrag the hard drive regularly. Now, there are multiple pieces of software that perform disk defragmentation. For example, Windows has a tool called Disk Defrag, and that's what we'll be using in this one, if I could talk correctly. So let's open it up here. All right, and so now we see our optimized drives, and then we want to click optimize here. All right, and then we also want to notice it works pretty quickly. There's hardly any data moved or deleted from this device that I have, hard drive, because the disk is already in the optimized state. However, in the real world, this may not be the case. On our personal laptop or our desktop, we probably should run this tool regularly. So I'm just going to close this out here, and now we're going to use what's called the chkdsk, which is the check disk utility, which is a handy tool when it comes to fixing boot or hard drive issues. And it can be run for the GUI or the graphical user interface or the command prompt. That utility can be used to repair a few things, like hard drive problems with bad sectors, lost clusters, cross-link files. It can also be used to fix a few boot errors, like a blue screen of death, error reading, and inaccessible boot device. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the command prompt again. All right, and then we're going to use the DSK. All right, then F R X. All right, so what these files mean is, right, so the F will attempt to fix any error that is found, the R will attempt to find the bad sectors and recover them, and the X will force the volume to dismount before scanning. Now, if we notice that we get the message that the disk is in use, it cannot be checked. Therefore, we can schedule the utility to run at the boot time, which is what it's asking us here. And of course, I want to say yes. And this value will be checked the next time this particular server, in this case, restarts. And we get the confirmation here also. Now, got that taken care of, so we can leave out of there. And now we can open up File Explorer. Now, File Explorer, let's see, we're going to local disk and then properties here. All right, perfect. And then tools. All right, and checking undo check. Now in the dialog box here, even though it displays the message that there is no error on the drive, we still want to perform a check just to scan it, just to be sure, right? And to give us the progress here, right? And then it shouldn't find anything usually. Should just be a few more seconds. Yep, just like we thought. Hit OK, we're good there. Just gonna close this out. Now, just the end of the video, just for a brief recap of everything that we've covered. So we've done just regular managing system maintenance tools. So now we're able to use Claim Manager, use ipconfig for the DNS cache, use Disk Defrag, and also chkdsk also as well. Thank you again. This is the last video as well for the Cybersecurity Fundamentals series. And I'll be back with more videos with additional cybersecurity tools and how to use them to best safeguard our physical devices as well as our OSs that we use to safeguard from things that we don't want to happen. Long story short, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.